So, Gio, battery day has come and gone. Aside from all the advances in very thick terminology, Elon Musk has talked to us about batteries and how they're going to get cheaper and more energy dense. Another big thing that came from the presentation was further confirmation that Tesla will eventually want to release a $25,000 car, which for the time being is called the Model 2 to make things easier by everyone that's following Tesla. You're familiar with Sandy Munro, right? That oldish engineer, likes to take apart all the Teslas every time they come out, gets down to the nitty gritty battery levels, right? You're aware of this man?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
you're aware of
his
his existence, right?
I believe he makes like reports
Yes.
on these cars and then sells them back
Right.
to the manufacturers,
Yes.
right?
That is the very same man.
Okay.
So, a lot of the general Tesla population was very happy with the fact that a $25,000 car is planned. Eventually, will be in the making. Us included, because cost of entry is definitely one of the bigger barriers for EV adoption. But Monroe recently said that he doesn't think that Tesla should be going for a $25,000 car. He was recently a speaker in a webinar held by Bernstein Research, some global investment research firm or whatever. Only available to the people that paid for the webinar, but a transcript of his opinions on the matter have been given out, and apparently we know what he said. So Monroe states the following regarding how he doesn't feel that a $25,000 Tesla should be in the future. So he states, so far, Tesla buyers are looking for all the bells and whistles. They want everything. They don't want one thing or two things. They want everything. And when you want everything and somebody comes out and gives you a small thing, think about when General Motors started to try going into the small car business. They were very successful at selling big, giant cars. So when they went into the small car business, who bought their vehicles? Nobody. He later went on to say, coming up with a smaller vehicle that's less costly, they can probably do it. I don't know if their customers would be that happy, and I'm sure their shareholders would be saying, why? You can sell everything you've got as fast as you can make it. Why would I want to go into the small car market with small profits and lots of other issues? What we need to do is focus on what they've got, because I've heard lots of promises from different companies and been disappointed when they brought out whatever it is that they brought out. And finally, in terms of the battery savings that he's seen, we were at $158 per kilowatt hour when we did the Model 3, and the reason for that was because we went down to the cell level and looked at everything. Now for the Model Y, we think that it's around $108. $108 is a big drop in 2 years, maybe $70 or something. That's a big move too, but at the end of the day, a $20,000 vehicle or a $25,000 vehicle, I don't see that. I don't think it can get under $32,000. I don't see how you could do that and it still make any money. So, with those statements being said by, a well-regarded engineer, someone who clearly knows what he's doing, Elon Musk has stated publicly that Sandy Munro knows what he's talking about. So now that we have these comments, I posit to you, Gio, do you think it is the right choice for Tesla to push forward with a $25,000 car?
Well, I'll start by saying that Sandy Munro knows what he's doing in regards to engineering, which is what
Correct.
Elon Musk said. And this is not a engineering issue. This is more business, marketing, and creating hype.
Mm-hmm.
I have to completely disagree with this because, yeah, people want everything that you can get in a Tesla, but the everything in a Tesla is not the Model 3. It's not the Model S. It's the technology that this car provides. And the technology might be the most affordable thing in the vehicle. Especially, we already know that this Model 2, like you said, we'll call it, is set to be the robotaxi.
Allegedly.
So it's going to have full self-driving. Not alleged. That's what they stated in the Battery Day presentation.
Well, yes. Allegedly, what Elon is going to told us, yes.
Yeah.
But, robotaxis were supposed to be here already. So, Gotta keep it in check. Um.
So the technology is already going to be in the car.
Mm-hmm.
The self driving is
Mm-hmm.
already going to be in the car. The MCU is a minuscule cost in regards to everything else around the car. It's minuscule in cost to add it, and that's what people want with a Tesla. It's not they always have great performance. It's great aesthetics. Range is fine, but I think the biggest selling point is the technology. I think if you took that same technology, you threw it into a Honda Civic, slapped a Tesla logo on it, it would sell. In regards to them already selling as much as they can make, yeah, they are, but they need to sell more. They have 2 or 3 factories currently under development. You have Austin, Germany, Gigafactory 3 in China still
Mm-hmm.
under development. What's their output going to look, their production capability going to look like in the next 5 years compared to now? 5 times as much? Yeah, they can sell more than they're making right now, but they're not selling 5 times more than they can make right now. They need to hit every demographic. Not every person can afford a $35,000 Model 3.
But do you think they'll be able to get to $25,000 and still make a profitable car?
I don't think they need to. Every manufacturer has cars they don't make a profit on.
Yeah, but
and that's standard in the
but
industry. As long as because there's the point of it is to it's like it's not necessary to sell that car to make money, but it's to bring someone in to look at that car and they're like, oh, let me get the Model 3 instead, I like it better. Oh, let me get the Model Y instead, let me upgrade to the Model S. You always need that vehicle that's going to drive someone up. So even if it doesn't make money, even if it breaks even, it's still worth creating. Now, I can't really speak on, battery costs and all that. I'm sure he knows much more than I do. But even at break even, it's still worth creating that vehicle.
So you're envisioning this because when I think of cars that are made to bring people in and aren't necessarily designed to make profit or huge profit or whatever, I tend to think on the other end of the price scale when they make a limited amount of production handmade type of cars that get people talking about the company, and yeah, they don't make any money on them, but it gets people talking about the brand, but they're still low volume, so it's not like they're losing that much money. But so it would be weird for me to think about a cheap car relatively that I would imagine people want to be high volume not making money.
Remember, at this point, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 3 years from
Mm-hmm.
now, Tesla's income source is, according to them, going to be greatly focused on the robotaxi system. Right. So once you account that revenue per vehicle in, it could generate a profit or, make up for some of the losses. So Tesla has this thing where they follow one of 2 paths and only one of 2 paths. They give you numbers and they give you hope built on hype, in order to just create hype, in order to make people excited for the future. Mm-hmm. Or they share wholehearted ambitions, they think they're going to do it, and they don't always hit it on time, but eventually they do. And I don't know where the robotaxi sits between the two of those.
So you have confidence that this $25,000 car will become a reality. It will come with all the bells and whistles we've become accustomed to, and won't, at the very least, be disastrously loss of money with each unit.
No, I think it's very easy. What's the current cost of Model 3? I saw reports at one point. I don't recall the numbers.
The cheapest one is $37,000, and then
no, the cost to build.
The profit, the gross profit margin is 20.
It was 30-something%.
Well, yeah, I don't know on a car by car. I know overall it should be 25%, 25 to 30%.
You're talking about reducing the base price by 30%, so that's a break even right there without doing anything else. Now, you have to also account for less material used on a smaller car. They're going to use probably weaker technology. They'll probably slap MCU 2 in there and give everyone else MCU 3. So yeah, it should be very easy to cut the cost down 30% and still maintain a break even.
Okay. Well, I've also been seeing this mentioned, and this has to do with, I guess, the day-to-day life with a Tesla. Obviously, you have a Model S, and other Model S and X kind of early adopters were kind of iffy on the great big explosion in how many Model 3 owners came about. Superchargers started getting clogged up. Service from Tesla started to get thin because their fleet like doubled in size, tripled in size really quickly. So do you think that, Tesla's other resources will be spread thin and the entire like consumer satisfaction with the company will start to dip when there's even more, even cheaper cars that are going to be sold?
Um, yes and no. I feel like a lot of Model S owners, the reason Model S sales are dropping down is because they prefer the Model 3. They prefer smaller cars. It's not necessarily a pricing issue. Now, obviously, there is that price gap, and there are people who have Model 3s who simply can't afford a Model S. But a $10,000 price difference between a $35,000 car and a $25,000 car isn't as significant as a 35 to a, what are we at now, 72? We're about to be 69,420.
Yep.
That's a much larger gap. I don't know if $10,000 is going to make too much of a difference in, what do you want to call it, luxury status. Especially because 25,000 is the starting price. This most likely going to run up to, with full self-driving, with, I don't know, the next set of rims, the different paint colors, at least 37.5. Maybe by the time full self-driving's up to 40. So, no, it's not that much of a price difference. It's going to be mostly on people who just don't need big cars. The European market, we see that they prefer smaller cars.
So, hypothetically, I know Elon's talked to death that Model 2, whatever it's going to be called, will be robotaxi compatible. But just hypothetically speaking, if they can't fit the technology in, or it's some sort of gimped technology, or full self-driving isn't available on their cheapest model, is it worth it then? Or is it no longer worth it?
Well, again, that would still be at just the numbers that I threw out, assuming a 30% profit margin on the Model 3 currently, and assuming we're cutting down from 35 to 25, around a 30% decrease. They're still breaking even at that, even without
no, right.
Through
but if it's without all the bells and whistles, hypothetically speaking, as Sandy is implying here,
without autopilot,
is it even worth it to go that
full
cheap?
Self-driving,
or is a base electric car that doesn't have all the best autonomous features still worth it?
It could be, because at that price point, you also start getting into a lot of fleet deals, a lot of car rentals. So it could be worth it, even without full self-driving. But again, this car is literally only made as a robotaxi. They announced it as the $25,000 robotaxi.
Right.
And I do not think that the $25,000 price tag includes full self-driving.
I'm with you on that boat.
But yeah, there's still a lot of, I mean, what is the average new price on a new car?
Last we checked, was it 37,
it can't be too high. Like Ford doesn't have like maybe 2 models that go above $35K. Everything else is pretty affordable. The Model 3 at $35K is still got to reach for a lot of people.
True. So
Tesla's, embedded themselves as a luxury brand, not necessarily in terms of quality, but in terms of like actual name recognition. Just about everyone wants a Tesla.
Yeah, well,
it's like what's the number one Porsche sold?
The Macan, the cheapest one.
Coincidentally, is the most affordable Porsche.
Well, people are making parallels to that because
number one Mustang sold is also the most affordable Mustang. Everyone wants to drive a Mustang. They don't want to drive a Mustang fast.
I've seen people make the parallels to Porsche because obviously, as you know, Porsche was initially just sports cars, as we all know, and then the people that wanted Porsche were a specific type of driver who wanted performance above anything else, and they'll pay whatever cost they have to get it. But then Porsche announced both the Cayenne and then the Macan, and it started to bring in a completely different type of customer into the company, because one of the much cheaper price and two of the completely different vehicle segment, that it kind of, I don't know, messed with the priorities of the brand at that point. I don't know if that's really a good comparison to make in this situation regarding the $25,000 Tesla, but I guess people might be worried that it might be too cheap. I mean, as we said, the Tesla interior isn't the most premium of interiors by any means.
I think there's a big difference between a $35,000 car versus a $25,000 car when they're different sizes. If Tesla released a $25,000 car that was the same size as the Model 3, then yeah, that's going to cut a lot of quality. But if they're releasing a compact car, I expect there to maintain all the quality.
Well, the Model 3, I mean, I don't know how much size they'll be able to.
I don't expect this to be a cloth seat, basic with no air conditioning. I don't expect this to be like bare bones car. Not a Ford Fiesta.
But
I think this is going to be on par with Tesla's quality, their interior. It's going to be smaller.
But if robotaxi is going to be the main point of bringing this car to market, I feel like they can't make it too small, because if you start making the back seats like uncomfortable as you would if
unless
no
we modify them to be pods.
No.
They could have a modular interior system. Who knows?
They'll just get rid of the trunk. There's no trunk. The seats go all the way back to the butt. Which honestly, now that I just said that in joke, for something that's specifically a robotaxi with no chance of being sold as a consumer market, I mean, why do you need a trunk?
I mean, if you look at something like the ID Buzz, they have a modular platform. How many different interior styles did they state that they can achieve?
I don't know how many, but they had like 7 seats, and you can have like a bench, you can have captain chairs all over, you can have
If this Model 2 is going to be set as a robotaxi, it makes no sense to give it like one default variant, like allow it to have some customization, maybe throw a champagne fridge in the back for a higher quality experience. Maybe the basic one is just cloth seats, a regular car. Maybe have a pod experience. There's a lot you can do with an interior of a car if it's built on like on a modular.
True, but the R&D to come up with sensible modularity is probably gonna not worth the $25,000 car.
Listen. Trevor Milton made like 7 different vehicles. I expect Tesla, a multi-billion-dollar company, to be able
Tesla,
to.
where my jet ski? You got the ATV, the jet ski's next. I don't know what next word you want to add to sexy cars, but it better have a J in it for jet ski. So, on that note, you agree with Sandy on an engineering standpoint, but on a business standpoint, you do not agree with him. Obviously, battery, he knows much more about batteries than either of us do, and that's going to be the biggest barrier, I guess, to getting down the $25,000 car and not hemorrhaging money every time you sell one. But yeah, I do believe that it's probably the right move to go forward with an even cheaper car. I mean, as we've seen many times in thousands of different surveys, apart from where do I charge a car, electric cars are too expensive is, the top 2 reasons that people don't want to get into electric cars. So,
do you want a $25,000 Tesla? Because
I
like
do
small
like
cars.
small cars. I am a fan of small cars.
You're a fan of the Model 3.
Fan of the Model.
You don't have $35,000.
I do not have $35,000. It's a dream come true. When I saw
it, would you buy a $25,000 Model 2 that's smaller versus a Model 3, assuming the same quality, assuming same interior, assuming?
I mean,
same
that's
technology?
a lot of assumptions at this current time. Obviously,
where would you give up? Like it'd be dumb to assume that full self-driving is not an option, because again, it is the robotaxi. Would you make the trade-off for like last year's MCU system, for example?
Oof. Well, ever since.
Or do you think the Model 3 is the perfect size already?
No, I'd go smaller, and still be happy. I don't need. Even if full self-driving delivered on everything that was promised, honestly, I don't. To me, full self-driving personally is kind of, I don't want to call it a gimmick at that point, because if it actually works, it's pretty damn impressive. But to me personally, I mean, I like driving the car. So at the very most, like regular autopilot is more than enough for me. So I'd be willing to sacrifice full self-driving, but obviously that's I would hope not the case because they keep saying that it's going to have full self-driving. So,
would you sacrifice interior quality? Would you sacrifice infotainment
well, you know me,
system?
I'm cool with cloth seats. Range is, you know, I would, with how much Elon talks big, I would hope it has at least 250 miles, because anything underneath is unacceptable according to him. So I'd be happy with 250 miles or more. The screen could be smaller. I don't really care. I mean, for $25,000, I mean, if you look at whatever's available right now for $25,000, there's not you shouldn't be expecting like the world. So I'd be happy with a $25,000 car with, you know, no FSD, range that's underneath 300 miles, is smaller than the regular Model 3, you know, me personally.
Let's assume in this theoretical that for 35,000, so 10,000 above, you can get a car that exactly matches that of the Model 3. Same infotainment system, same FSD, same interior quality, same range, same performance. It's just a smaller car. Would you pay the same price for the smaller car?
You mean, would I pay? So it's a Model 3?
Would you pay 35,000 for a smaller Model 3?
When the regular Model 3 is available?
Correct. When the regular Model 3 is still available for that same price. How much is a smaller car a deal breaker for you?
No, because the Model 3 is a good size to me. So I wouldn't, you know,
So go for the Model 3. So they can't add too many options is what I was getting at. There's not, you know, at one point, you know, if Tesla ever gets out of, you know, the 2-option challenge that they got going on, and they start doing something like Porsche with over 200 challenges, you know, something would better probably meet in the middle. Yeah. Somewhere maybe more than 5. They can't add too much with the 25,000 Model 2, because then you would just switch over to the Model 3. But again, that might be a good thing, because that might be what they intend to do, because again, the Model 3 would make more money than a $25,000 Model 2.
So you know, now that you say that, final question, regarding Tesla's 2-option challenge. Do you personally feel, would you sacrifice the $25,000 model to have more effort be put to have more options and customization into the current crop, including the Cybertruck, in terms of options offered by Tesla?
From a personal standpoint?
From a personal standpoint. Well, both, I guess.
From a personal standpoint, I would love to see more options. I could care less for a $25,000 Model 3 if I could have like a lot of options on a Model S or a 3. But from a business standpoint, I think it's best to just move on to the $25K and leave options to last minute. Like, yeah, they add a little bit of margin here and there, but in this day and age, the biggest thing is getting your name out and getting numbers out, not necessarily money in.
All right. Well, one day I hope I will be able to go to the configurator and see more than 5 colors, though. I mean, that's a dream of mine, Elon, please. So,
well, we're gonna have another color. We're gonna have that new red.
Oh, okay. 6. Thank you. If you've never looked at a Porsche Taycan configurator, please do, and marvel at the amount of stuff you can do. Obviously, it doesn't really matter too much to the performance, but I feel like it's always good to personalize your car a little bit. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, with all that being said, what do you think? Is a $25,000 car in the future for Tesla? Is it a good move? How much would you be willing to sacrifice to get a Tesla that cheap? Do you think that the $25,000 car will come with FSD standard? Let us know what you think, and we hope you have a wonderful day.